There is a new model making some serious noise in the AI space right now. Not from OpenAI, not from Anthropic, not from Google. This one comes from Baidu, and it goes by the name ERNIE 5.1. Now on paper, the numbers look impressive. It ranked 4th globally on the Search Arena leaderboard. It claims to outperform DeepSeek V4 Pro on agent benchmarks, and its reasoning score on ERNIE 26 sits at 99.6, second only to Gemini 3.1 Pro. But we have all seen benchmark slides before, so today we are not running benchmark slides. We are putting ERNIE 5.1 inside a real developer workflow and seeing how it actually holds up. ERNIE 5.1 is Baidu's latest foundation model, built for strong performance at unusually low training costs. Compared to models at a similar scale, it compresses total parameters to roughly 1/3 and activated parameters to about 1/2, while using only around 6% of the typical pre-training cost. You can access it through the Qianfan platform using an API key, or test it directly at ernie.baidu.com. The API follows a familiar chat completions format, so if you have worked with any major model API before, the setup is straightforward. For this video, I have API access, and I am going to use it to run a real test. Here is what that looks like. The task I am testing is an agentic research workflow. Specifically, I want to give ERNIE 5.1 a topic, have it search for relevant information, synthesize what it finds, and return a structured output I can actually use. This is the kind of task I run regularly for content research and planning. It requires the model to reason across multiple steps, handle ambiguous inputs, and produce something structured and coherent at the end. Not just a one-shot answer. The API call is clean. You set the model to ERNIE 5.1, pass in your messages array, and the model supports online search natively, which means it can pull live information without you having to build a separate retrieval layer. Let me set this up and run it. First prompt, I am asking ERNIE 5.1 to research the current state of AI adoption among small businesses in West Africa, synthesize the key findings, and return a structured brief with a summary, key data points, and gaps in the available information. The first result is actually solid. The structure is clean, the summary is coherent, and it correctly flagged data gaps rather than hallucinating numbers to fill them. That last part matters a lot. A model that knows what it does not know is more useful than one that confidently makes things up. But I want to push it further. Let me ask it to go deeper on one of the data points it surfaced and cross-reference it with a second source. This is where it gets interesting. When two sources conflict, ERNIE 5.1 does not just pick one. It presents both and notes the discrepancy. For a research workflow, that is genuinely useful behavior. The output is tight. It kept the tone consistent, it did not hallucinate new data, and the structure maps cleanly onto what you would actually send in a professional context. One observation: the model occasionally over-explains its reasoning steps in the output, which you may or may not want depending on the use case. It is easy to strip out with a follow-up prompt, but it is worth knowing upfront. To give this some context, I ran the same research workflow prompt through the model I usually reach for on tasks like this. The quality of the output was comparable. Both models handled the structure well, and both flagged uncertainty honestly. Where ERNIE 5.1 had a small edge was in search integration. The native search tool felt tighter and required less prompt engineering to get clean sourced results. The trade-off is ecosystem familiarity. If you are already deep in a particular stack, switching has a switching cost. But if you are building something new and want a capable model with strong agentic and search performance at competitive pricing, ERNIE 5.1 is worth seriously evaluating. So who is ERNIE 5.1 actually for? If you are a developer building agentic workflows or research pipelines, the native search integration and strong multi-step reasoning make it a genuinely competitive option. The API is clean and the model handles complex structured tasks well. If you are a content creator or researcher doing knowledge-heavy work, the deep search capability is the standout feature. It handles uncertainty honestly, which is not something every model does well. Where I would be more cautious is on creative writing tasks, where you want tight tonal control. The model is capable, but it tends toward thorough over stylistic. That is feasible with prompting, but it takes a few iterations to dial in. Overall, ERNIE 5.1 is a serious model that deserves a real look, especially if you are building something where search and agentic performance are the bottleneck. You can try it at ernie.baidu.com or access the API through the Chenfan platform. Links are in the description.